Sonic Generations came at a perfect time, coming off the heels of Colors, which is pretty much universally praised, much to my dismay. Sonic fans were starting to hold out hope that there was a future for the franchise. When Generations first came out, it basically confirmed fan speculations that the franchise was finally back on track with one of the first consistently praised Sonic games in years. It was a celebration of all things past and present, wearing every single game like a badge of honor, not shying away or holding back from some of its more controversial titles. It finally seemed like the days of Sonic being a laughingstock in the grand landscape of gaming mascots were finally over. Of course, we now know the unfortunate way the tides would turn against the blue blur, but at the time, it seemed like all was well. Looking back in retrospect, many fans started to turn against once beloved games like Colors, so it makes you wonder, does Generations still hold up as the perfect 10 out of 10 franchise-saving game it was once seen as? Or is the honeymoon period over, and have we opened our eyes to any glaring flaws the game has that makes it just as lackluster and uninspiring as the other meta-era games? In preparation for Sonic's 30th anniversary, I'll be taking a good look at many of Sonic's greatest outings and seeing if we view them with rose-tinted glasses or if they still hold up just as well as they used to. Upon opening the game, you agree with the beautiful, yet short animation of the two Sonics running around at the speed of sound in classic locations. Then again, this is a Sonic game from 2005 to 2012, so of course the pre-rendered CGI animations are going to be beautiful. After this animation is over, the game kicks right into action, opening you up on Green Hill with classic Sonic. Of course, I'm sure we're all aware of how much Sonic teams run this classic location into the ground, but at the time, it was the first glimpse we got of a modernized Green Hill zone. The last time we saw it was in Sonic Adventure 2 as a reward for collecting all the emblems, so it was a nice callback. After completing this opening level, we're met with a short cutscene of Sonic's friends setting up a surprise birthday for him. Regardless of how you feel about Sonic's friends and what their place should be in the series, it was nice seeing most of them in one place for once, at least for me. Then the Time Eater shows up and kidnaps all of his friends, setting up the main plot. This is where we get to one of my biggest gripes with the game. The plot might as well not have existed in this game. Who knows, maybe Sega's thought process was, hey, people can't say we have a bad plot if we just don't have one. I mean, then again, what else would I be expecting from a game written by Ken Pontac and Warren Graf? The two dudes who literally admitted to getting all their Sonic information off of Wikipedia in an interview. Great choice of writers, guys, really. At the very least, they didn't turn this game into a constant comedy show like they did with some of the other notable entries. No baldy McNosehair is found here. The story really only shows up in the first third of the game, outlining, hey, we're traveling through old levels from our past to save our friends. Really just somewhat contextualize the actions you take in the game. The story disappears completely until the end of the game, which by that point I'm sure many players forgot there was even something greater going on. At the time, the more simple approach to storytelling was praised by critics, and they appreciated the step away from the melodramatic and shonen style of storytelling Sonic had become known for at that point. Another thing they stripped from older Sonic games was characters' personalities, with a lot of key characters of the series' history being reduced to mere cheerleaders, such as Knuckles and Shadow. While I would have appreciated even a cameo from E1 through 3 Omega, Vic the Cat, or even the Babylon Rogues, seeing these characters in a game for the first time in years was nice to see at the time. Nowadays, it's just a sad reminder that Sonic Team is letting these characters go to waste, letting them sit in a vault only to be brought out for minor cameos, stripped of their character. With boost titles being expensive to develop due to how much pure level has been designed for Sonic's speed, along with the work that goes in making landscapes look good, even though they'll just be boosted through in a second, they usually need to add a second playstyle to pad out the game and soften the workload. In comes Classic Sonic. The classic gameplay is decent enough recreation of the Genesis titles and works well for what it is. The levels are pretty well designed, with enough branching pathways and secrets to allow for exploration. The pathways are all fluid, allowing you to go fast. While there are some things I dislike, such as whenever you are halted to a grinding stop to do some slow, Mario-esque jump from platform to platform stuff, it's all around decent. It's definitely not the reason I played this game so many times. It's not as polished, groundbreaking, or as satisfying as the classics, but it gets the job done. There really isn't anything to make each of these levels layouts memorable, so where you can memorize the entire layout just by playing a few times, leading to a pretty much one and run done through the classic levels. One thing I will give this playstyle, however, is the use of a dynamic camera. Upon my first playthrough when the game first came out, I thought it was an amazing and creative evolution of the classic gameplay, really adding to your immersion and captivation, and I still do. I was hoping it would find its way into Mania or Forces somehow, but it didn't, and ended up remaining exclusive to this entry. The music for the classic levels are usually simplified, more upbeat versions of their modern counterparts, aside from the levels that originated from the classic style, and there's really only one song that stands apart from the rest. The Stardust Speedway remix is amazing, and one of the best arrangements in this game. It keeps the funky flow of the original from Sonic CD, and updates it with even more funk, instruments, and higher quality samples. This is what keeps me playing this game over and over again all these years later. I've always been a strong advocate that 3D Sonic has always been better than 2D Sonic, and with this game putting them side by side in the spotlight, I think it's the best supporting evidence for this argument. I have never ever seen one person say they think the 2D levels are better than the 3D levels in Generation, or go back and play through said 2D levels multiple times, just for fun or to get a better time. This game brings back the beloved boost stages from Unleashed and Colors, and while watered down from Unleashed, it's a huge step up from Colors. A lot of people call Colors Unleashed without the werehog, but that was never a fair statement to make. The Unleashed stages were fast-paced, action-centric, memorization rewarding, reflex testing, joyrides, while Colors was more of a stop-and-go platformer akin to New Super Mario Bros., except with horrendous controls and unfun gimmicks. The levels in Generations, while not as jaw-droppingly gorgeous or as well-polished as Unleashed, still harkens back to it in some ways. 8 out of the 9 levels in Modern Sonic's playthrough are memorable and replayable, rewarding multiple playthroughs and memorization with better times and scores. However, they are not free of scrutiny. A lot of the levels don't feel built around the boost as a central mechanic, treating it like a bonus feature players can use if they want to go a little faster. There are a lot of slower, more platforming-centric sections of these levels, along with some really pace-breaking 2D sections. I don't have a problem with the 2D sections in boost games, as it can be a nice way to keep the player on their toes. Unleashed did 2D sections perfectly, as they kept the flow and speed of the levels going. The 2D sections in Generations are much more akin to Colors, with stop-and-go platforming, breaking the pace and speed of the level. Ultimately, my overall enjoyment. Some additions severely nerf Sonic moveset, such as limiting the lightspeed dash in specific rings, or removing the crawl and only letting you slide. This leads to many levels not being able to be tackled in different ways, leading to ultimately the same experience after you master a level and know all the best passwords to choose, improving with only a couple microseconds of leeway. This would be an issue if most of the levels weren't well designed, which they are. Notice how throughout this section I haven't been describing all the levels as a whole, saying 8 out of 9, or most. This is because there is one level dragging them all down. And who would have guessed, it's the level from Colors. Planet Wisp is unfun and messy. It's so painfully obvious that this level was not built around boost as a mechanic at all. There's a 1-minute 3D section at the very beginning of the level, and doesn't even give you room to boost. It so badly wants you to know, hey, this is a platformer, let's do some platforming. What better way to show them than by filling your level with boring platform action, along with a gimmick that completely stops you dead in your tracks. That'll sure fit a game based on finding the fastest route through a level and whizzing through it. This level really just drags down the rest with it, and sours an otherwise fun and fulfilling experience. The music for the modern levels are all absolute bangers. While some don't match up to the pure energy or emotion as the originals, such as Open Your Heart or Escape from the City, they serve well as fresh takes on great songs. Jun Sonoa does a great job as always, leaving you with a complete and consistently good soundtrack. Even the aforementioned Planet Wisp theme is pretty good. Upon completing the first third of the game, you get to fight the Death Egg robot, in a unique take on the Sonic 2 final boss. It makes use of those dynamic camera angles I was talking about earlier to the fight's advantage, giving you a new perspective on the legendary fight. Would I have preferred they use Sonic 3 and Knuckles final boss, or even brought Mega Sonic back? Absolutely, but this is still a fun and memorable fight nonetheless. This is classic Sonic's only boss fight, as the rest are taken up by Modern. That the perfect Chaos boss fight is the same sick Battle of Gods from Adventure 1 turned up to 11. The opening section where you run across a ruined city to reach Chaos with Open Your Heart blasting in the background would never not be cool, at least to me. One thing I don't like about this fight, however, is towards the end, there's this entire other section of the fight where Chaos lifts up debris and makes it fly in the air. Now this would be just as sick as the first phase if it didn't replace Open Your Heart with its oppressive, intimidating tune. It just doesn't match the you can do anything energy of Sonic and kills the mood. If they just left Open Your Heart playing, I feel as if I would like this boss more than I already do. The Egg Dragoon boss fight is also extremely sick, but I feel as if it's a lot less flashy and showboaty as the Unleashed version, where the entire fight is taking place on a falling platform. The fight makes use of the quick step and boost pretty well actually, and the music is a funky and fitting theme for Eggman. It's an overall good use of the design of the Egg Dragoon, and leagues above whatever Force did with it. The final boss is the worst of the bunch. The Time Eater has air music, sloppy controls, and whack hitboxes for projectiles. It's overall just so underwhelming. It also doesn't outline your goal well at all. It tells you to go for its core, but how to do that or what its core is left in an aura of mystery. I spent around 15 minutes figuring out what I was supposed to do in the fight, and it didn't help that I'd hear, I think it's a homing shot every 30 seconds. The Time Eater is a really lackluster and underwhelming final boss to an otherwise great game. Is Sonic Generation my favorite Sonic game? Not even close. It has many flaws that set the franchise on the path it's on today. Does that make it a bad game? No, this game is consistently good for the most part and never fails to put a smile on my face when racing through the gorgeous scenery at max speed. My views since its first release have changed significantly, but overall I still hold the opinion that it's generally a fun romp through timeless classics. If you haven't already, I'd highly recommend picking up this game and beating it through to the end, even if you are around 8 years late to the party. Sonic Generation gets a final score of 3 out of 5 from me.